Scout mayonnaise.
That's all I had, unless you have questions for me.
Didn't mean to get Clark going.
All right.
And it was so quiet until we started going with the water.
David?
David, sir. Lawrence Fire Rescue Department Annual Report. Nice of you to take some time out of your schedule.
Okay, just update quick. They're gonna pull the barricades on 12th at 3 o'clock today.
Ooh,
Everybody,
real time. This is like
everybody
Twitter.
head to that intersection.
Is this Twitter? What do you got there? I don't even know how to use that, but I've heard of
The
it.
president over
It's like,
there.
yeah, he's like, it's like,
What happened is you got to the Scott Knight watching the council meeting going, boy, I better get an answer now. That's what's going on. Hi, Scott. Annual report. I'm dressed warm today because I spent the night checking a house that we had burned yesterday, and it is cold out, so appreciate it. Cover page, thanks to Tom Vance, a little drone picture during one of our 6 parades this year that our town has. We have a few parades. We could be the city of parades, really, we got a lot of those. The second page was the current membership through December of 2019. As you know, Assistant Chief Weiss is now the EMS Director. And also this month, actually tomorrow night, will be Captain Mark Hinch's last day on the fire department after 40 years of service to the city. So Mark will be retiring also tomorrow night. Before I get farther into the report, I want to thank Mike Weiss, Steve Schwartz, and Ethan Mitchell for helping put the report together. I want to thank my staff of firefighters. We've got a very dedicated group of individuals that give up sleep, give up meals, give up birthdays, Christmas, holidays. What a wonderful group that make our city what it is, and make our fire department what it is, and make the chief here what he is. So I want to thank them. I want to thank their employers. I think it's very important we thank them for letting them leave and go to calls. Without the support, we'd have to have a lot more full-time individuals, and so those people that continue to let their firefighters leave for fire calls sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, I can't say enough to thank those employers. I want to thank Mayor Kirchhoff. He's a big supporter of us, the council, administration, the girls up front that help with everything as well, with our billing and all our stuff that we turn into them, and our budgets, and keeping us in line. City, county, state departments, that includes our street department, public works, ambulance, police, water, wastewater, the sheriff's office, our emergency manager, Dwayne Welloff, the Iowa State Patrol, the Iowa DOT and Troy with the DOT group out here at accident scenes. They've been great to work with. Our local tow companies of Mayros and Stockton, Dennis at Clem, and Beverly and Kim at the Sentinel. They take care of us and give us great coverage and support us as well. I want to thank those folks. Our industries are great to work with. Our private businesses, our private donors that give a lot of money to the fire department, our citizens in general that support us, and then the wives, kids, significant others. My wife, as Mike said, happy birthday to his. I'm going to thank mine. Her boss actually asked her the other day when I was standing there at the school and had a fire call and I had to leave. He said, how many times a night does he get woke up? She said, about 4 out of 7 nights a week in the middle of the night his phone rings or he has a call. So thanks to those folks that let us leave and let us do our jobs. And without the support of your families and kids understanding why you don't make the basketball game or you don't make the Christmas program or the concert, without the support at home, we couldn't make this city as great as it is. So thanks to those folks. The next page, our 2019 year-end report. Total number of calls was supposed to say in 2019, it's got 2018 there, was 529. That's a world record for our fire department for calls for service. It's the most we've ever had in our history. And then the breakdown there of city, rural, and mutual aid calls, the breakdown of what types of calls they were, and then our total fire loss actually should say in 2019. I apologize for that. So we didn't do too bad in fire loss this year, but it only takes one to ruin that number. the fire yesterday, I'm estimating already for January this year is probably about 60,000 or better in fire damage on that one fire. Then there's a pretty nice little graph here. I know people like graphs. It shows our call totals since 15. And then the next page is the breakdown of how some of those calls played out. Our rural calls were down this year. We didn't have as many grass fires with the flooding, but we don't like floods either, but that does help control the grass fires. Our mutual aid calls were down just because some of the other communities' calls were down. And then our chief investigations were down. The chief investigations, we kind of had to reclassify some of those, so I don't want you to assume that that number is way down. Some of those numbers now for our fire reporting system have to go into the other category of public service or agency assist things. So on that page with the totals, it shows 195. So that was why that number was so high, and the chief investigations was down. Another thing with the chief investigation things was some of the car cleanups from accidents that I did myself. We are now using an engine company with 4 people to do because, one, it's safer, and we get cleanup done quicker, and we get the heck off the highways a lot faster, so that's a safety issue. The next page talks about some of the general things. We did 222 inspections. That's everything from schools, daycares, apartments, jails, flammable liquids, liquor inspections, and that sort of thing. We offered 68 firefighter training sessions this year, and that's either in-house or other sessions that we allow people to go to, whether it be Western Iowa Tech or Iowa State at Ames or something like that. We attended 263 meetings and programs. We did 68 classes for the public or businesses, reaching 566 people, and that could be anything from CPR to first aid to fire extinguishers to severe weather awareness. So we do all kinds of classes during the year. We did 31 fire prevention talks in the school and talked to 465 kids. As you recall, I told you before, we give about 1,500 booklets and color books and fire prevention materials out to the school kids, and that's all paid for by donations, so that's a nice thing too. Had the largest pancake breakfast we've ever had. 640 people showed up and had a pancake and some sausage. We actually don't do that as a fundraiser. We do that to kick off Fire Prevention Week, but it brought us in about $4,000, so that was a nice little morning activity for us. Resignations, we had one, Eric Fox, 8 years of service. He's got girls involved in sports and different things through school, and his life just as some get too busy to put in the time here. Eric is also a paid firefighter in Sioux City now, so he works every other third day, so that kind of took him away from us more often, and he wanted to give a lot more hours, and he couldn't, so he resigned. And then some of the things we fundraised for down below that we bought with donated money. There's a lot of dollars there, and again, as I said earlier, thanks to the private donors and businesses and those that support our annual mailing and our annual fund drive.
Dave, what's a Siamese adapter?
A Siamese adapter, okay, it's an adapter that we put on our aerial truck that we can run 2 hoses into that Siamese, like a Siamese cat or a double-headed thing, that we can run 2 lines into that aerial to feed that aerial more water.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Next page is Firefighter of the Year last year was Charlie Money. Charlie is one of our guys that came to us a few years ago. He was on the Boyden Fire Department and then moved to Lamar's. He works for UPS, so he's not around all the time, but when he is, he makes every call, makes all the trainings he can. Very valuable member, recently became an EMT and is working on his National Firefighter 2 certification as we speak. So Charlie was chosen as our Firefighter of the Year last year. And then just some pictures, a couple picture pages. That first picture page up on the left was our trailer fire that we had our fatality with this year with a fire death. And then to the right was one of 2 animals we saved with our donated pet mask from the Bockelman gal that raised funds and donated pet oxygen masks for several departments around the state. This was a dog that actually was non-responsive. We brought it out and got it revived. We also had a cat this year that we saved with those pet oxygen masks. A little laundromat fire, some training, a dumpster fire. Down below you can see the flood work with the street department stuff out at the airport to protect the terminal. a couple gas spills and things like that. The next page is a couple of our major house fires that we had out on Lake Avenue and then out on 24th Street southeast, or excuse me, 5th Avenue southeast off of 24th. We had an apartment building in the bottom left there. We had a semi, some other fires. And then the last page is the accidents. Accidents were up this year. For some reason, it seemed like every vehicle almost ended up on its top this year. I don't know why that is, but we had a bunch of extrication calls with our Jaws of Life equipment. The guys are very proficient with that stuff, and we save a lot of lives by getting people out of cars that they're either crushed or pinned or trapped in. We did have a fatality out on Key Avenue by Corporate this year, unfortunately, with a vehicle that rolled and ejected a few people, so we still have those issues that we deal with. Other than that, it's the 21st day of January, and as of this morning, we've had 21 calls, so we're right on schedule of how we run every year, it seems like. So we're on call number 22 will be the next one. But again, thanks to everyone for their support, and we'll continue to forge ahead. Any questions?
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Good report. Anything else? Kevin, you got anything?
No, I just, I was reminded of the fatality. I'm putting my statistics together, so I'll get that in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Odd even's going very good. We're writing 2 to 6 a night in the entire community, so it's working like it should, so.
Okay. Jacob, you gonna explain the budget to us? 30 seconds?
I don't have a lot on it today, just that we wrapped up committee meetings, you're all involved with those. I thought they went pretty well. Next council meeting, we'll be having a budget workshop afterwards. So we'll have the budget books to you guys before that. Just a note on valuations, we're up about 3% this year for taxable valuations. And I think we're looking at keeping the levy at 11.9, where we had it last year.
Yeah, the valuations are up, the rollback percentage has changed less than about 1% across the 3 categories. So we're trying to keep it the same. But keeping it the same probably means there will be a few cuts
Yeah, I think
on the book, and this would be an exception to the thing that is in our mailbox. These need to get delivered whenever they're ready to council people. Even if it's Thursday, maybe, before the next council meeting, because there's a lot of stuff in there. Don't look at me like that.
Turn the camera off. I know, right?
No.
If we just get the hard copy,
No.
we don't need it in e-document.
No, don't put it in an e-document, because you're gonna go through that anyway.
Yeah.
And we're gonna change the pages. If we change pages, we're gonna get new pages.
Right.
That's the way we've done it in the past.
So when you say cuts, what are you two thinking for dollar amount at just projection right now?
If you take all the numbers that are supposed to go into property taxes and 11.9, it means that we're unbalanced by 100.
100.
Yep.
Okay,
So,
Hey, Jacob?
probably closer to 200.
okay.
So 150, you're at.
That's, I already took the 100 out of Dave's budget. So,
Nothing and nothing, still nothing.
I was curious what you were looking at, so.
Are we gonna have to give back the table back here?
Well, when we get our books, you might want to actually put a note in there that says, this is.
not only are we putting a note in there, we're gonna put a list of the things that we're gonna talk about. And these guys' suggestions.
That's fine, but that way,
Things to look at.
when I get it, and I'm going over the weekend, I know you're looking at 178,000, we need to find,
Okay.
or whatever number,
Yep.
because it helps me,
Yep,
Right.
agreed.
because that's,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
But, it sounds like a big number, but it's a $6 million budget. So we're looking at 3 to 5% overall, so that's pretty much it for that?
Yep, that's what I got.
Okay.
I want to circle back to something Mike said early on about, you mentioned you watched the last council meeting.
YouTube.
Yeah, because I don't think enough people know that. Even though we are live and we have our fans that watch us live, they are recorded and they're uploaded to YouTube. So anybody can go back onto YouTube and watch them. I think it might be, well, they're usually up there by the day after. But just simply type in Lamar's council meeting and then the date, longhand. So today is January, what is it? January 21st, 2020. So Lamar's council meeting, January 21, 2020, will take you to these. And the way that camera works is they're broken up and it's recorded in 20-minute sections. So, you know, today's going to be 3, it might even be 4 little 20-minute clips. So,
I'd point out that as I wandered and surfed to find these things, there was something you could subscribe to called Jason Becerra.
oh, can you?
And it had some old meetings from 18, and stuff like that.
Oh.
The one you want to subscribe to for current meetings is City of Lamar's, when you click on stuff. And then they'll start just showing up for you to see if you want.
But just so that everybody knows that, I mean, you can go to YouTube and watch old meetings.
Yeah, I've used them to refer back and see what, got said or whatever. I did this last week, so, 'cause
Like I said, sometimes I don't even remember what I said. It sounds odd, but there's a lot of stuff that gets on here.
most of them remember once forget what I said.
Dennis, Bev, got any questions for us? Are we okay this week? You don't have enough stuff for the whole week, so, you know.
The headline's gonna say Knapp is asking for traffic lights and that for
Well,
everybody.
those people, make sure to tell them to sit down before they hear the because all of a sudden I might have traffic accidents on 18th if they're listening to it.
What's next, a street light?
Okay, we're gonna go into closed session for,
Motion to enter closed session under Iowa Code Section 20.173 concerning collective bargaining where negotiating sessions and strategy meetings of public employers shall be exempt from the provisions of Chapter 21 open meeting.
Second motion.
we have a motion to go into closed session. Please call the roll.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fairchild?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yep.
Rick?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.